Hi, this is Mike Becker with PIA, and we are joined by someone that many of you know, Chris Paradiso of Paradiso Insurance in Safford Springs, Connecticut. And if you don't know him through Paradiso Insurance, probably most of you have heard of him through Paradiso Presents. Chris is a good friend of mine. He is a marketing guru and has spoken all over the country to many of you and to carriers and other folks alike throughout this industry about what independent agents can do to enhance their marketing image. And he also has a really important role with an awesome organization called Journey Found. He's on the board of directors, and that's an organization that his sister's part of, but it helps individuals with all sorts of abilities. And it's really awesome. So Chris, thank you for doing that. Thank you for all you do for the industry and for spending a few minutes with me today in light of all this coronavirus changes and the outbreak. So first off, Chris, how you doing?
Doing phenomenal. How else can we be? There's no other options.
So
can't complain.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on with your agency and how this has affected you and your agency. I see you're in the agency right now. What about you and the rest of your staff?
Yeah, I have just about everybody working from home. Given each and every member an option, I think is first key. My office manager is here. She is like me, who just needs to be in the office. It's just, we're, have about 6,000 square feet here. So it's just me and Steph, and a couple days a week, our HR girl comes in, Steph too, and handles things, but predominantly everybody's at home. And we are very fortunate to have the right technology to be able to literally overnight, not even overnight, within an hour, be home and up and running.
Yeah, so not only are you a marketing guru, but you are known to have a little bit of technology and technological ability within your agency. So that is probably more relevant today with this outbreak than any other day. How is that playing out for you in working with your insureds and your employees?
I personally don't believe it's actually affected business at all. Some people may think I'm crazy, but it's affected our mindset, because people we hire very interactive people who love people, not really task-orientated people. So mentally, I would imagine it's affecting them, and we're going to get into some things that we're doing to work on that. But as a whole, in servicing people, it hasn't changed anything other than I personally believe it's gotten stronger and better because people are at home.
Which is tough for some of us. You and I share something that we're both people person, right?
Yeah.
And we like the interaction and the relationship side of things. And are you finding that you're able to do that through video or through other technology? I have to imagine that's hitting you personally.
It's definitely hitting me personally. I'm not going to sit here and tell you. I don't think I've ever gone home more tired. Doing about 8 to 12 video conferences a day. I am beat when I get home, and one of the key components of advice I can give to people, I personally believe I take every day, I spend 45 minutes going home and eating, and instead of eating a big dinner, we eat a big lunch, kind of old school being Italian, with the kids home. So for 45 minutes, usually eat, say a prayer, and spend a little time, about half hour at the table, and then on a nice day we're out riding dirt bikes for 15-20 minutes before they're back in doing their schoolwork. So peace of mind is getting away from whatever station, whether you're still in the office or at home. You have to get away from the station, get up and free your mind and clear your mind.
I have been working from home myself, and I have found myself taking more walks and more swinging of bad form of my golf club in my yard. But just
mentally, it's good for you though, right?
That's right. Just to take a few minute
Sure.
break
Sure.
here or there. So, hey, what about interactions with your staff? Are you using video chat features or?
Yeah, we're setting up Zoom videos. We personally believe that we take each team, we break off into 4 different teams: personal lines team, commercial lines team, a marketing team, and then our FedEx Amazon, which is our carrier delivery team. And we spend a half hour, which most days goes 40-45 minutes per team. And I would highly recommend setting up a team meeting every single day. It is hugely important. How many teammates are at home with children? and they're not getting that interaction with adults and team. My wife's special ed school teacher, right? She comes home and loves to chit chat with me, and a lot of times I don't want to chit chat, and she says, I don't get the stimulation of being able to communicate with adults. I'm dealing with a special needs kid, and I want to have that high level talk with you. So hugely important. Set up a video chat. If you're a smaller agency and 1 or 2 teammates, maybe you're setting up an iPhone, FaceTime. Super easy, right? If not, Zoom's free. Set up your conference and make sure you have it detailed of exactly what you're going to do. I would tell you, of those Zoom meetings, very important to first interact and say, hey, what wins did you have yesterday? Super important to talk positive in today's time with everything so negative going on. And just turn on the TV, everything's negative, everything's a Debbie Downer, and you can't allow that in your life. I always say, as my grandfather used to remind me, garbage in, garbage rots. Not garbage in, garbage out, which most people say. Garbage in rots the soul, rots the inside of you. So you got to stay positive, you got to stay upbeat, and you got to think positive. So start with wins, and then talk and ask each team member. Now, a little bit harder if you have 400 or 500 teammates, but when you got 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, when you're breaking off in teams, hear from each individual. How'd your day go yesterday? So that the whole team can interact and say, hey, Mike, for example, commercial lines, small commercial, had a tough day yesterday. Customers are struggling. Hey, what are we doing? We have to keep a mindset and say, hey, Mike, tomorrow's going to be a better day. We have to get through this. Negativity is going to tear us down. Let us bring a little bit of positive light and say, hey, what we can do is call the carrier and probably delay your payments. See, this is a positive thing. And let's talk about some of the positive things with our clients when they're having tough days. Don't just treat them as a client and talk about their bill and, or talk about their certificate of insurance. Talk about, hey, there's better days ahead. We just got to stay strong. We get through this, we can get through anything. And it's a mindset.
You just hit on a ton of awesome stuff right there. First, by the way, you're using Zoom. We're using Zoom right now. And if you aren't familiar with Zoom, as Chris said, it's free in most cases. It's zoom.us. Really, I find it to be just intuitive, user-friendly.
Easy.
Yeah, zoom.us. Try it out. If you want to try your system out, zoom.us/test. You can run in 4 or 5 seconds a test call just to see your system capability. So
Sure.
Check that out. Really easy. And Chris said, hey, make sure you're doing daily calls with your team. I think that's awesome. You got into talking about the good news, hey, keeping things positive and encouraging. And you also relayed that to the customer side. But let's talk about the staff side a little bit more. What, in addition to video, what are you doing to not only keep them optimistic and engaged, but what about productive? I mean, how are you motivating them, patting them on the back throughout the day, other than just a 30-minute call? What's going on to keep that staff charged?
Well, with the ever importance of great technology, when we have such a great tool like voice over IP, what a great way to be able to take a couple calls every day, listen to a couple calls, and say, maybe copy a link, just hit email. Mike, just want to say what a great job on this conversation with the customer. I just want to tell you, first and foremost, I'm super thankful for having you on our team, but I also want you to hear your phone call and listen to the key points on how positive you are and how you made a difference in someone's day. Something so simple can change somebody's day. That would be one key component. The other thing is, as I'm doing with my customers, I take 30 customers a day and I reach out to them through text. Hey, I'm checking in with you, Mike. I want to see how you're doing. I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. And that spurs on a little bit of conversation. Hey, I'm hanging in there just like you. How's the family? And then, it gets into a little bit of a conversation. I think the key component is, I call it, friends of mine, Bob McCool, who is a mentor of mine, always called it daily candy. He's been doing it for years. A quote or just a little promotional message. I think the other key thing is just taking your iPhone and just shooting a quick video. Hey, Mike, just thinking of you. Right. Want to let you know you're doing a great job. I know it's not easy working from home. I appreciate you being a great teammate, and then just send it. Want to text it, want to email it. Very easy way. Stay in front of your teammates and root them on. We're all in this together.
Hey, what about, how does that translate to your customer base? You are a marketer at heart too, right? And have been really outside of the box. Yeah, right. You've been outstanding at it. So how have you been engaging with your customer base, and how has it affected your business? You mentioned on the front end of this conversation that you're still seeing new business come in the door. So talk about your customer side for a minute.
When people say I'm marketing guru, I'm not, I wish I was a guru of something. I'm not. I would rather people think of me because if it's really broken down, marketing is communication. A hyper communicator. I want to over communicate on every aspect of our business. I don't care if it's branding. I don't care if it's closing a deal. I don't care if it's service work. So the key answer to your question is, what are we doing is communicating with our customers. So there's three real aspects, and I'll touch upon one and I'll get into the new business aspect. We have closed really good amounts of business. I'm not going to tell you we're to par of where we need to be or where we want to be as our goals, but we're not far off our goals. And to be able to say that we're going through this slowdown where I'm on Main Street and nobody's driving by, that we're closing business on a regular basis. We are closing business on a regular basis. We had one day, one agent closed over $100,000 in new business Tuesday of this week. Agent's only 25 years old. And I just rooting them on and saying, hey, communicate, communicate, communicate. And the key component of what happened is on our Zoom call Monday, I said, if I could give you one piece of advice to our producers, to our salespeople, and our internal salespeople, is reach out to people and just check on them, see how they're doing. Even prospects are even more, they're thinking, imagine their agents reaching out to them, not even their agent didn't reach out to them, but a gentleman or a young lady who wants to be their agent is reaching out to them. Think about the power of that. So it was funny, he did that, and he had presented a couple weeks ago, and he felt it didn't go as well as he thought it would go, especially with the nerves of this slowdown in the virus, which had this guy all shook up. Checked in on Tuesday, on Monday. On Tuesday, they had some chat back and forth and said, hey, let's jump on a quick call. Jumped on a quick Zoom call on Tuesday, and the gentleman said, hey, would you mind quickly going through that again? Really easy. You can go on to, and we created a video proposal just showing him and outlining everything. Hey, we're going to shoot a quick video proposal for you, just so everything's outlined. I want you to review it. He reviewed it. It tells us, that piece of technology tells us that he viewed it. We scheduled a call, 3 o'clock, it was closed. It was $100,000.
That's awesome.
Policy. So,
I've heard some agents do what you just said, is the constant outreach. Maybe it's 10 customers a day, it's 30 customers a day. So that's a good piece of advice. So if you're, for some reason, if you're working at home, your phone's not ringing, you got a little bit of downtime, would you say that's probably the best thing you could be using that extra time on, is outreach to customers?
Definitely. And when I say outreach, I think there's a different component. When you talk about outside sales producers or internal sales producers, if you're talking about more CSR or customer service or customer facing, I hate those customer service rep. I just don't like CSR as a name. But if you have internal people, I would highly, highly, highly recommend running a report of last year, the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever you have. If you have a management system, you don't. Who did you quote and you didn't sell? And or who did you lose last year? Most agencies do not need to do any marketing, spending a ton of money on Facebook or anywhere else. You have a gold mine. So we have a team, that's what we're laser focused on. Quoted and not sold, and we review the business. There are clients that we don't want back that may have left us, bad payers, things of that sort. We avoid those. But you have enough gold right in your book of business. Just go after quoted and not sold over the last year, last 2 years, last 3 years. Hey, just reaching out to you. Would love another opportunity. We know you're at home. We know that you have time, and it's a phone call. The other aspect of that we do is we call every single client every single year to do an account review. While we're doing this review, it's very simple. Hey, Mike, do you have any family members at home that you could refer me to that I could pick up the phone and call. Everybody has time today, and people are nervous about money and saving money. I don't want to just save the money. I want to give them the same good coverage I gave you, Michael, but I'd love to be able to not only give them that great coverage, but save them some money. We're getting referrals, but it's picking up the phone. You can't have that phone fear. You have to have that. Pick up the phone and go get it.
I love it. Great advice. Hey, I'm going to let you get on with your day, but before we do that, any final tips or tricks? Agents I know are struggling through this. We all are in some capacity, and we're all trying to figure this out. What's your best advice for these agents out there?
I think the best advice is picking up the phone and calling other agents. Probably been on the phone with 5 or 6 agents per day. Hey, just want to reach out to you, Mike, check in on you as a fellow. A lot of us agents have relationships with other agents. Pick up the phone and call. You have really good relationships with your insurance reps and or carrier reps. Pick up the phone and call them. Hey, what's going on? Also, not only stay positive and pick them up and bounce ideas, but continue to communicate. Hey, what's working? Have you heard anything that's working with other agents? We all have a lot to share, and if we just share with each other, we're not competitors. There's a lot to learn from all of us. I would tell you mentally and business-wise, it's been an enormous uptick every day. Just finding a few agents that I'm going to reach out to and just say, hey, you have a few minutes? Let's get on a quick phone call or a Zoom. A lot of Zoom meetings, which I absolutely love because it's interaction that we're not having right now.
That's right. Hey, you are a gentleman and scholar. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do for PIA, for independent agents across the country, for this entire organization. We are very lucky to have you on our side. So I wish you the best of luck, and we'll stay in touch as
Mike, we thank you for all you've done. You've brought in light, you've brought in technology, you brought the young, aggressive mind back to give back to agents. And I cannot thank you and so many of your teammates at PIA, because it's more than association. To me, you guys become a family. And I urge other agents, and I know every state has different people running it, but get to know Mike Becker, get to know the national team and local teams. We are very fortunate to have you. So thank you, Mike.
Well, I appreciate that very much, Chris. We will stay in touch. We will talk soon.
Absolutely.
And, hey, good luck. Thank you, Chris.
Be safe.